originally that's where their route was proposed, but we put a cabin there and they have since moved the pipeline route, proposed route upstream, 3 kilometers, 2 kilometers, 1 kilometers. There's 3 different pipelines proposed. There's Enbridge, Pacific Trails pipeline is the frack gas, and Coastal GasLink TransCanada, same company, is a 1 kilometer up, but that company is the one that's been very ruthless and dishonest and spreading propaganda about us and getting police involved because they can't meet their own agendas, so they decide to lie about us and get the police to stop and harass us on the road. And they tried to come in here, so they were hoping to send 200 police officers last summer, so things got tense here, and the police did try to come across the bridge. At one point there was just a couple of officers, and so that's pretty much a lot of the struggle that we've been up against, because police works with industry here. They're not here to protect the people, they're here to protect the interests of industry and government. And that's what originally RCMPs were organized for, was to protect government interests and keep us off our lands, and they continue to try to do that today. 100 years ago they forced our people onto reservations and kept us off these lands, and 6 years ago we decided to move back to this lands and leave the reservation and decide to make this our home, so this is where we live now. We found that industry was ruthless and continued to try and come in even though we told them no. They brought equipment in by chopper, and they brought a bunch of drill equipment to the back of the territory, and we're planning to do test drilling back here, and they were doing that while I was burying my brother, so.
With the Unist'ot'en taking a stand against pipeline companies here, we are not only stopping pipeline companies, but we're stopping oil refineries and LNG plants from being built on the coast, which would in turn have tanker traffic traveling around through the Pacific Ocean and around the world. But we're also stopping the tar sands industry. We're stopping the fracking industry from continuing what they're doing to the Arctic Ocean. So we have people from all over the planet that have come in and joined us on this fight. People from all over this beautiful world that they want to see. They want to see something passed down to their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren, their great-nephews, their great-nieces. So I think a lot of people who come here begin to understand this idea of, knowing that they have to spend some time with nature. Not just walk in a city park, but actually go into the wilderness and experience the wilderness for a while. Go and look at what's happening in the wilderness. There's logging happening everywhere. There's agriculture happening all over the place. There's industry putting places up everywhere. There's urban expansion. And that's killing the planet. That behavior that we have of just making things, taking it, and then using it for a short while and disposing it fast, that's killing our planet. That act of consumerism is a death blow to our future generations. So we don't have the luxury of time on our side. If we're going to do something, we all have to do it now.
My niece, who's just going to graduate with her PhD in clinical psychology, she had a vision of starting a healing center for young people so that we can heal our young people, because we have such a high rate of youth suicides in Indigenous communities. So she focused her studies on youth because that's who she wanted to help. And when she was talking about constructing a healing center, she thought it was a far-off dream, and the supporters that come in from all over the world to help us here with this fight against the pipelines actually helped us build this building behind us. And when they heard her story about her vision of a healing center far off in our future, and they said, hey, we can fundraise for that. So we had Dave Ages from Galliano do fundraising to build that first phase, along with Victoria Force Action Network out of Victoria, help fundraise for the first phase, and that's where we have a commercial kitchen and a dining hall, and then that extra space up top. We built that last year, and they raised $50,000 for that, and said we had about 50 volunteers come in from everywhere to construct that, and it took them 3 weeks. We're going to have holistic healing where it'll be spiritual, cultural, mental, and physical. Because when you're out here, you receive physical healing through proper diet and drinking water that is full of minerals still intact, and just nature itself is healing. And we'll also have mental health counselors to help people with their struggles from all the trauma and grief and unresolved grief and things like that a lot of our people are suffering with, because we don't have enough resources out there, and people stay stuck with drugs and alcohol is just something they use to cover up the pain they're carrying. So eventually, in the theme, we always say, if we heal the people, we will heal the land. So a lot of people, our own people, aren't out here because they're still having struggles, and we believed if we developed this healing center, if we could heal our people and reconnect them to the land culturally, spiritually, mentally, then people will be inclined to save our planet.
That we're going to bring them out onto the territory to allow the territory to facilitate that healing process that they're looking for. But if we let industry come in and destroy this territory and ravage it so that there's nothing left, there's nothing there that will actually help our people heal. So the health of the land and the health of the people are very connected. And that's, I think, one of the biggest points that we have about building a healing center out in the territory here.